Parshas Beshalach Shabbos Shira, Tov Pei Hey. And what a parsha this is. Like, you look at this parsha, you don't know where to begin. I mean, we know where to begin. We begin at the beginning of the parsha. But you could just go on, and the Nesivos Shalom speaks about this week's parsha, Kriyas Yamsuf, from so many different angles. And not just in Nesivos Shalom. This week I was looking through so many different Sfarim. It was just so exciting to see the different ways that people look, and that the Chachamim looked at Kriyas Yamsuf, Chazal, and the things we could learn from Kriyas Yamsuf. Happened to have heard a beautiful, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but my friend Simcha Hachbaum from Hebron, every week he puts out like a 2-3 minute video on the Parsha, and today's lesson also on Kriyas Yamsuf, on Parshas Beshalach, and he spoke about why you had to have Kriyas Yamsuf, why Paroi had to come chasing after them again, after all the 10 Makkos. Just a beautiful insight on the Parshas. If you have a chance, you could check that one out too. But the Nesivos Shalom speaks about Kriyas Yamsuf from so many different angles. And the truth is that it happens to be one of the most monumental moments and miracles of our storied history. Kriyas Yamsuf, right? Who doesn't know? We even compare things to Kriyas Yamsuf. Zivugim, Shidduchim, right? Parnasa, Mitzvah Shalom, all these things we compare to Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf is like up on a pedestal. And the Medrash tells us something very, very interesting on the Pasuk in Tehillim. Everybody's familiar with this Pasuk in Tehillim. I wonder if you know that it's even talking about Kriyas Yamsuf, right? We say it in Hallel. And the Pasuk tells us, Hayom Ra'ah Vayonos. The Yamsuf saw and ran. And it bolted, it ran away. So the question is, Ma Ra'ah, what did the Yamsuf see that it ran? And the answer to that question, very famous answer, everybody knows, Aroinoi Shel Yosef. That the Yamsuf saw that they were carrying the Aron of Yosef from Mitzrayim. They were bringing it, right? They're bringing it all the way there. They're going to bring it to Eretz Yisrael. Yosef was going to be buried in, as we know, Shechem. And the Aron of Yosef was coming along. The Yamsuf saw the Aroinoi Shel Yosef, and it split. And right then and there, that's what made the Yamsuf split, it would seem. So let's think about this Medrash for just a moment. Picture this. Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron HaKohen, 600,000 people are standing on the banks of the Yamsuf, and the Yamsuf is not budging. Not for Moshe Rabbeinu, not for Aaron HaKohen, not for any of the many tzaddikim and high and choshev people that are standing there. No, it's not happening. Comes along the Aroinoi Shel Yosef, and right away the Yamsuf splits. How do we understand that? What about everybody else? What about the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu walks up to the Yamsuf, and the Yamsuf is not going to split. But no, it splits in the schus of Yosef. So the Nesivos Shalom says we definitely need to understand that. What's going on over here? So the Nesivos Shalom tells us, let's look at the history of Yosef HaTzadik a little bit. Where did he get his name? Yosef HaTzadik. So we know that Yosef had in Mitzrayim, Yosef had the Nisoyon with Eishes Potifar in Mitzrayim. And in order to be goiver that Yetzer Hara, which was a very, very powerful Yetzer Hara, Yosef had to use all his koiches. He had to use his koiches l'mala miderech hateva. Not even a regular fighting the Yetzer Hara over there was not going to work. Yosef had to use his koyach l'mala miderech hateva to fight the Yetzer Hara by Eishes Potifar in Mitzrayim. The Yetzer Hara then was so powerful because the Yetzer Hara knew that if he could succeed with Yosef, it wouldn't just be beating Yosef. He would break the Koyach HaKedusha of the unit of Yud B'Ei Shvatim. Each one of the Shvatim had their place, each one of the Shvatim together made up the 12 Tzirufim, as we know, of the Shem Havaya. Each one of the Shvatim had their part in it. And if the Yetzer Hara would be able to beat Yosef over here, then it would break the unit of Klal Yisrael. That's what the Yetzer Hara wanted. It was a moment that he did not want to give up. And he fought Yosef very hard. And Yosef saved the day by what the Pasuk tells us, Vayonos Vayetze Hachutza. He ran, he picked himself up, he ran outside, he ran away from Eshes Potifar. Yosef, we know, he fought, Chazal tell us, he fought in the schus of his ancestor. Who was Yosef's ancestor? Avraham Avinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Pasuk says, by Avraham Avinu, the Pasuk says, Vayotzei oisoi hachutza. Very similar lashon. The Torah tells us that lashon because Hashem took Avraham Avinu. Hashem was making a promise to Avraham Avinu, telling him what would be with the generations after Avraham Avinu, his children. And Hashem took Avraham Avinu out above the sky to see the land of Eretz Yisrael and his life from a perspective of L'mal Miderech HaTeva. The Pasuk says, Vayotzei oisoi hachutza. Why? Because Avraham Avinu, al pi derech HaTeva, could not have children. Avraham Avinu simply could not have children. Hashem took Avraham Avinu above and away from derech HaTeva. Vayotzei oisoi hachutza. He took Avraham Avinu out and above the regular norm, the regular set of rules. He took him l'mala miderech hateva, and he said, you shouldn't be able to have children, but I'm going to do for you l'mala miderech hateva. And the Torah goes ahead and uses the same lashon by Yosef of vayonos vayetze hachutza. That when the Yetzer Hara comes to a person in such a powerful way, many times you need to use the strength of L'mala Miderech HaTeva to fight the Yetzer Hara. And that's what Yosef did. Yosef did that. Yosef stepped out of a so-called comfort zone with Mesiras Nefesh. He said, no, I have to win this battle. Al pi derech HaTeva, maybe I can't, but I'm going to give it extra. I'm going to step outside my comfort zone and I'm going to fight with Mesiras Nefesh to beat this Yetzer Hara. And look how great a feat Hashem thought it was. Hashem saw what Yosef did. In that schus, look what happened. The Yam Suf split for all of Klal Yisrael. It was not splitting for Moshe Rabbeinu, for Aaron HaKohen, for any of the other 600,000 people plus standing there. It was not going to split. But Hayom Rav Hayonos, the Yam Suf saw Vayonos. What did it see? It saw Vayonos Vayetze Achutza, that Yosef picked himself up and fought the Yetzer Hara in a very, very exceptional way, in a very, very high level. So to counter that level, Klal Yisrael, the level that Klal Yisrael was at that point, they had just come out of Mitzrayim. Klal Yisrael needed something out of the ordinary, something so powerful to make this work, to make the Yam Suf split. And that came from one moment of Yosef fighting the Yetzer Hara in an extraordinary way. Nesivos Shalom, aside from the beautiful Torah in Nesivos Shalom, it's known that when it comes to chinuch and when it comes to Musar, they talk about the Nesivos Shalom. Nesivos Shalom was amazing before therapy was in vogue, that every person feels that they need 2 or 3 or 4 therapists just to get through the day. And Nesivos Shalom tells us things in his Sefer that are so ahead of the times that they make sense so much even today. And listen to what the Nesivos Shalom says, and this is what he says inside the Sefer. He says that people box themselves in. They box themselves into certain parameters and categories and boundaries and rules. People define themselves And they decide many times at a very young age, we decide what we're capable of and what we're not. I can do this. No, this is not for me. I can never do that. And unfortunately, many times, you're basing it, it's based, unfortunately, on what other people tell you that you are. All it takes sometimes is one person, one friend, one teacher, whatever, and one person that has influence in your life to tell you that, nah, it's too much for you. You can't do that. So you box yourself in, and that becomes your boundary. That becomes your rule. You feel that I can't push anymore because everybody told me, or I told myself, that I'm not capable. And from a very young age, we box ourselves in, and we don't budge from that. We're constrained, and we're boxed in by this imaginary boundary that we make for ourselves. So, unfortunately, we fight the Yetzer Hara. We always end up back in the same spot because we don't snap out of it. We keep coming back. This person feels, when I was 13 years old, I couldn't get up to go daven. So when they're 65 years old, they're still not getting up in the morning to go to daven. Davening means nothing to them. Why? Because this is me. I do a lot of chesed, I do a lot of it, but this I can't do. You know, you want a person to be a nicer person, approach people nice. No, I can't. I'm in a bad mood. I wake up in the morning. I can't talk to people. We box ourselves in, and you never snap out of it. But look what you can do, says in the Nesivos Shalom. You just step outside. Yosef stepped out of his comfort zone a little bit, and he pushed a little bit more. Al pi derech hateva, he could not beat the Yetzer Hara. Yosef did that, and because of Yosef, Hayom Ra'av Hayonos. The Yamsuf saw Yosef, for Yosef, and he wasn't alive. Yosef wasn't even alive. So Aroina Shel Yosef, that which represents a person who, during his life, imagine what a person who is alive and a person who's living, imagine what it means to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he sees that you fight the Yetzer Hara that normally, al pi derech hateva, you wouldn't be able to. You push yourself out of bed in the morning. You push yourself to accomplish your blot, your Shalmi, Bavli, whatever you're learning, your Mishnayos, your being Mavasedja, whatever it is that sometimes becomes hard and you get bogged down. You push yourself. Imagine what a little Mesiras Nefesh is worth to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So in our lives and in our circles, a little Mesiras Nefesh, it goes a long way. And really, that's the lesson. One of the beautiful lessons we could learn from our Parsha. You know, we come here every Thursday night, Baruch Hashem, for the last 760 some odd straight weeks, Baruch Hashem. And we come here, and we have a beautiful matzav. We get this delicious Tayamel from Bika Cholim Kitchen. Not only they're supporting Torah, besides Chesed, and this, what goes on here, it's time not to be believed. If you ever want to blow yourself away, come take a look one week. Come look at what goes on in the Bika Cholim Kitchen, and I can't even get into the different aspects and different type of people that it's servicing and the different things that this place does. We come every Thursday night, and we have a beautiful matzah, and we learn. But this is one of those lessons that you can't just forget after you eat the shalom. You have to go home tonight, and you have to say, how can I give just a little more? How can I push a little more? Because to you, you might think it's a little more. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a little Mesiras Nefesh, obviously, a little Mesiras Nefesh, you could do it. Don't listen to everybody else tell you. You can't, you can't, your whole life you didn't do it. You could change anytime you want. Tomorrow you could change. Take a little step, a little Mesiras Nefesh. It goes a very, very long way.